Today on What Went Wrong, we're going to talk about how you can talk shit about movies the right way. Hi, I'm Brett Mauser, and I've made over 40 feature films, and most of them have been criticized, critiqued, and slammed.
Bleach for my eyeballs.
Yes. Should not be viewed by anyone with eyes.
Oh, God.
I'm still trying to figure out the refrigerator factory critique.
Because they're burly? I mean, refrigerators ain't light.
No.
I have to see the movie, though, to see what the they were talking about.
Well, it's on notsosane.com.
Oh, good. Which one was it?
Barrio Angels.
I did actually really want to see that when I first learned about...
We just got it back last year.
When I first learned about whatever it was called, Ponderous, Not So Sane, and I was looking up the other movies, and that's how I learned about Second to Last Worst Day of My Life. And I saw this thing called Barrio Angels, and there was some little trailer for it, and I was like, you know what? I want to see that, actually. I mean, I'm not promising I'm going to like it, but I kind of want to see how that goes. Some of that did make it into the rework.
The saga?
Yeah, with the bike that was made out of cocaine or whatever. Yeah. I'm questioning the science on that one. I mean, I feel like the exhaust gets pretty hot. Maybe the guy,
the whole thing,
the grandma behind you is driving down the road swatting at elves.
Did I cut that part maybe? Because there was a part where when they're revealing they're figuring out that the dope was in it. Brad's character says, because Dub's the one that makes it.
The bike is the dope.
And Brad's like,
they made a bike all out of dope?
And he said, well, not like the engines and stuff, but the panels, man, the plastic on the panels.
I mean, it had to have been in there because I haven't seen the full movie yet.
No, I may not have made it into the Innocent Saga cut, but because
that would have been where I seen it.
Okay. But the full version's now up because we were able to get that. But that was where we first really... Barrio Angels was the first film that we got out there. It was our first film on Blockbuster shelves. So in IMDb, blammo, just slammed. It teaches you to have a hard shell.
Right. But there's a lot of trolls out there, and I wish I could remember exactly what movie I was looking at, but you had asked me a question probably a couple hours in episodes of this ago about how do I actually find these movies? And the answer is mostly Amazon. I find some bullshit, no-nothing, no-name movie, and it says, well, what about this other bullshit, no-name, no-nothing movie? And now a lot of it is Indiegogo and Kickstarter too. Hey, fund this movie and I'll give you the 17 other movies I've seen or I've made so you can see them. Like, yeah. I mean, I'm not promising I'm going to like them, but I'll watch them. And that's how you find these movies. And I go and I'd seen a trailer for something or somebody had offhandedly mentioned one of these movies and I wanted to see if I could still get it. Because I learned the hard way with Serial Rabbit that when I first saw it, I bought it on Amazon. Number 3 and number 1, and at the time I didn't know there wasn't a number 2, so I was still looking for it. But then when I started making the reviews, I'm coming around to the point. Shut up. And I wanted to tell people where they could buy it, so I went back to where I bought it, and it wasn't there anymore. So I wanted to always make sure now, and I found a review for this movie. I really wish I could remember what it was. 'Cause I know I haven't watched it yet, but 1 star, junk movie was the headline. Worst movie ever made was the entirety of it. I made fun of it and put it on social media saying, if you're going to say this about the movie, give us a little bit more context. What made it the worst movie ever? Well, I learned that that's just a troll. And one of the filmmakers, MJ Dixon, he does the Myco universe. If I might have talked to you about it. The Cleaver, the Killer Clown, the Pandemonium, the guy with the panda mask. That movie's great. I mean, you've seen it yet, but you really should. It's amazing. Oriana will just blow your mind. She plays the lead. But he's done that. This particular critic has done that with MJ's films, almost all of them. Why? I mean, what do you get out of it?
When the project came out, it hit Amazon, and there was one guy that went out there and slammed it, and he admitted in his post, this is just a bunch of nobodies making a movie. And probably all the people that like this movie are just probably friends of theirs or whatever.
Yeah, actually read that one.
He put it down, and I see it as my job and my duty to go around correcting these people and letting them know, and calling them out on this. And it's like, dude, Really?
Somebody's parents didn't spank somebody.
Yeah.
Or did it a lot, and he learned to like it. Now he has a machine for it.
So when it comes to critiquing, I mean, and this, you find the most bizarre, strangest, low budget, no one's ever heard of movies before, but you go into them treating them fairly, and that's all that any of us ask for. And you can even go above that by saying that you take into account that we have no money for these.
Right. Like many times I would say,
because you can't hold us up against the Marvel universe. You just can't do it.
no. I mean, you would spend in the entirety you gave a number before, but in the entirety of every film you've ever made, you've probably spent as much money as the Marvel Cinematic Universe would spend on cappuccinos in a week. And I have often said in one form or another, they probably had $50 for their special effects. Considering that, it still looks like or it looks pretty good, or don't put them in at all. And part of that, what comes from is I've worked on films now. Granted, I'm not like some grand thespian with an Academy Award worthy performances, and I still don't know how latex works. But being behind the scenes and seeing when the first time in person met was, well, second time I guess because the night before, but at your apartment doing Blow a Kiss, Mitchell's meth party, and seeing how that all gets put together. Knowing the severity of the shot where Mitchell blows his own head off and how you can only do that once. We learned that with the olive jar here, where I was drowned in olive juice. Every last godforsaken drop of it in my face. And there was, I mean, you can see the split second. It felt like an hour to me. But the split second where I realized I can't open my eyes. I can't open my eyes. It's not like opening your eyes underwater where you get used to the burn. This is olive juice. This is vinegar. This is going to burn my eyeballs. But I need to look back up at Sergio. So I had to improvise on the fly and just as a zombie just started kind of trying to reach for him and hoping that people couldn't see that my eyes weren't open because we couldn't do it twice. Not because we couldn't get more olive juice. It ruined my makeup. As soon as you yelled cut, pretty much all of it was gone. Mm-hmm. And so you have to appreciate that. In Blow a Kiss, the apartment scene, it's all shot like the camera's just going around. And I was there. I've no fucking idea where you put those cuts in. I was there watching you take the camera and rehearsing the flip or whatever you were doing with it. And I'm like, was that all one shot? I'm in that shot. Is that one shot? I don't know. And if that were to happen in a big budget film, pick a studio that anybody would know, that probably would have taken them the better part of 6 days. It would have cost $1 million, and you did it for the cost of whatever the it took to pay Dane. She got paid for the day. But then to make a crock pot full of pulled pork, whatever that was what you spent on it, and it worked. I mean, outside of not knowing any of the actors in the scene, any general audience member could look at that and assume that it took you 6 days and cost $1 million. The fight scene, I don't want to pick on Marvel too much. They're not entirely incompetent, but the fight scene in Winter Soldier in the elevator, it took him 6 days. It's 35 seconds long. Mm-hmm. Yasso was here, and he was talking about a Donnie Yen fight that took 14 days. Well, collectively, probably more like 3 or 4 of actual fight shooting. How long is that fight scene, though? Minute and a half, 2 minutes? He said. I wasn't paying attention.
Most of us don't pay attention to what he says. So
no, he just punch people, Matt. You're really good at it. His introduction scene in the Innocent Saga with the new music that you put on there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've been in combat, and that's impressive. Mm-hmm. But you gotta appreciate what goes into it. Like, who are these actors? I've said again in many different ways because I talk a lot. Friends of the guy who owns the dog parlor next to the donut shop that you were filming in. So no, they're not going to be, Academy Award worthy thespians. They're gonna probably just be trying to remember the lines.
Well, Sierra Rabbit 3, the tattoo parlor owner was the tattoo parlor owner.
Yes, the scene where the rabbit displayed his ability to teleport. From the parking lot, back inside, how did he beat Cassandra in there? Jessica, the character is Jessica. How did he beat her back in? I don't care. And then then she punched him in the face and his mask goes around. Like that was one of the things that sold that movie for me. It was when the mask comes around and he's just like... And again, you wouldn't see that in a big budget feature because they're not trying to be silly.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to be silly and they don't know what silly is.
They have to pick one way and go that full. We'll do unrealistic, and then because I would call The Mask interjecting reality into it, because a guy walking around in a bunny outfit, that's gonna happen to him, but it's not scary. So you verge off of that.
And
so
I have an unfair advantage when it comes to the serial rabbit, because although it was the white bunny suit, which somehow I put on backwards, but all I'm saying is the zipper goes up the front. Well, in any other thing, the zipper goes up the back. So I put the zipper up the back. But yeah, putting even that version has the bicycle helmet in it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see a thing, and I was pretty sure that thing was just staring at my dick the whole time. I have no idea. But I have an unfair advantage there because I've actually worn the damn thing. But in film, what are you looking for? What am I looking for? Is probably a question that was going to come up. Am I having fun? First and foremost, I don't care if it's a drama, a thriller, a crime drama, an action film, fantasy, whatever the hell Serial Rabbit technically is, comedy, horror, or whatever you would call an Evil Dead film. Am I having fun with it? If your film is all about gore, not my shtick, but I'm watching it for the review, how'd you do? Is it comedy? Am I laughing? Like, it might be your brand of comedy, but I'm the audience member here. Am I laughing? Mm-hmm. Your fantasy film, I saw one from Spain, which had the Basque language in it, which I probably just mispronounced. It's really fun. Incredibly low budget. Everything's in front of a green screen. But it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun. There's good chemistry between the characters. And that's when you start looking for, okay, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Why am I having fun? What am I having fun with? And can they keep that energy up? I mentioned before Ebola Rex. Starts off, it's really funny. There's a scene where the Tyrannosaurus gets infected with Ebola. He goes to a dinosaur park, big statues. And they're like, okay, he's going to rampage through there. No, he's standing at the entrance pretending to be a statue. What? That's one of the funniest things in the movie. But about halfway through, it can't hold that energy, and it just... And like, yeah, no, that doesn't count then. It was funny. It was good. It had potential. And then it just peters out. If you're doing your blood and gore, can you keep that up? Yeah. This is the whole reason I'm here. Can you keep it up? You have... some people do try this in the independent cinema. They try to make your slow burn horror, which I think is the one you said doesn't really resonate with you, because just get to the point.
Yeah.
But
in that way, I will say there's nothing. I'm not going to criticize a film that does that.
If they do it
but
well.
I can say it's not me. I don't enjoy those films, so I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to rant on it in a comment section.
Right.
It wasn't for me.
But if you don't do it well, then it just comes off as boring.
Yeah. To that, though, I think it takes certain types of people to be able to distinguish your taste from a bad film, because I think a lot of people will not be able to separate their own opinion from and be objective. And like, whereas I can say that's not my type of film. I'm not going to say that it's a bad film, but somebody else, like my father, wouldn't hate. Just will not even give like Iron Man a shot. He's like, I don't need to see something. That's just a crappy film. No, it's not that. Iron Man is not a crappy film. You just don't like those types of films. So draw that line and understand.
It's understanding that. Again, I ran into this with the guy that has my complete opposite viewpoint on Serial Rabbit 3. It's probably more than one of them, but this is the one I talked to. It's his opinion. It's my opinion. It's your father's opinion that Iron Man is going to be garbage. And Iron Man 1, at least, is actually an independent film. Mm-hmm. But people can't separate their opinion or the opinion of a well-known reviewer, either in magazine print or magazine online or YouTube or wherever. Your opinion is not fact when it comes to something that can be opinionated. I say film is art, art is objective. or subjective, open to opinion. Therefore, it can't be wrong. By technicality, there can't be a good movie, a bad movie. There can be a poorly made movie. There can be a well-made movie. The Marvel films, as much as I don't enjoy all of them, they are incredibly well done.
Yeah.
Black Panther, I think it was either nominated for or won an Academy Award for their costume work, and rightfully so. I've seen it. You guys, round of f***ing applause on that. Holy It's not like trying to put a t-shirt on Ryan Gosling and drop some water on him. You had to build something that didn't exist. Mm-hmm. They had to build a whole culture for Wonder Woman, for Black Panther, for Man of Steel that doesn't exist. And they had to build it through costume. Mm-hmm. So whether your film costs $50 or $50 million, you have to build that. And if you do it well, if you don't do it well, you look like the poop monsters from Pazooka's Island of Vomit and Despair, which is just a guy wearing a plastic bag. And that's going to throw people off. So when you look through a movie and you want to know, is it well made or not, good or bad for shorthand, you got to understand what goes into doing it. You know, there's no sweeping shots in it. You have an idea how difficult that would be for somebody who has a $5 budget and their smartphone slapped into a frame. It's impossible unless they want to risk their camera and all the footage inside of it. Just take the thing and chuck it through the air and hope it works. Or get a drone to do an aerial shot, which I believe, at least in Ohio, you have to have a license for. And if you don't pass the test, you get kid. But people don't realize that. People don't understand that. People don't want to take the time to understand that. They want their flashy special effects. They want the actor they know. They want the same cookie cutter film over and over again. So when you go outside of that box and try to do something different, Hex Studios in Scotland did the Black Gloves, one of my favorite films of all time, my favorite thing they've ever done, and I find it hard to believe they're going to top it. But it's a slow burn horror film with one hell of a reveal at the end that you got to wait for. And you need to pay attention. It's something that I see a lot of. People don't understand, especially we was talking about cinema sins. They don't pay attention to the movie. Yeah. They're watching it scene by scene. They're not watching the film. So people aren't watching the film. Somebody told me once that no matter what the movie is, they have to, quote, second screen something, end quote, on their phone or a tablet. Well, then you're not watching the movie. I was talking, just did the review of Jesse's super normal, regular, average, I probably the title up again, whatever. It's a trippy little film. And if you're not watching every godforsaken second of it, you're going to be confused as hell. You're going to be more confused than the characters in the film, and they're going through some pretty trippy stuff. So you have to watch. You have to pay attention. And if you're going to be critiquing a film, sure, there are the professional film critics, because how the you professional anything? It's your opinion. Mm-hmm. Just because you have more viewers or you get paid to do it doesn't mean you're right. You compile a list of the 100 greatest films of all time. I guarantee you Citizen Kane and Seven Samurai are on there. Have you actually seen those movies? I'll bet you didn't. Yeah. But it's your 100 favorite films of all time. Yes, I know I'm playing semantics, but it's the point. It's you haven't seen all the films ever. I'll bet you none of those people have seen Serial Rabbit 1 or 3 or 5. I'll bet you they've never seen Beyond Skyline, which is a direct sequel to the original Skyline, and goddamn if it ain't a good movie. Yeah. But I bet you they never saw it. And if you told them the premise of the film, they would refuse to watch it based on the premise alone. Yeah. If you fed them the premise of the original Gojira, I bet they wouldn't watch it if they didn't already know what it was. Mm-hmm. If you just gave them they'd be like, no, it sounds stupid. Well, it's not. It's one of the most moving films of all time. It's one of the few ever that actually got me to cry.
Something you had mentioned about best and favorite. I actually talked to my class about this. And when they get to my senior class, I'll bring up I'll go to the board and I'll make two columns. I say, okay, give me what you think are the 5 best films, and they come up and they put it, and then I'll say, okay, on this one, after they put up their 5 best, I say, okay, now I want you to put up the 5 favorite films, and like, well, I just did. So no. Draw the distinction between them. Every one of us has our guilty pleasures. There are films that I can look at and know are really bad, but I love them. They're so fun. But I can look at them and go, you know what, from a cinematic standpoint, that's a bad film. But, so that goes in my favorite films. And there are films that I'll put on a best list where I can go, you know what? That is a very well-made, incredible film, very artistic, but I didn't care for it. But I can appreciate what that movie was. And I try to teach my students that to distinguish between the two. And hopefully by doing that, making them realize opinion is not fact. And not to say that best list is fact, but still to be able to draw draw something outside of yourself and realize that your tastes don't encompass everybody.
Your worldview is not universal. Because we pick on them all the time because they deserve it. The Last Jedi made $1.3 billion. And I legitimately, in real life, on social media, in people I've passed on the street, I don't know a single person that can say something good about that movie. I can defend certain scenes in it. The whole Mary Poppins things from a physics standpoint. It looks stupid, but it makes sense. The ship's not coming to her. You ever get dropped into the lake and you're attached by a rope to a very large boat like a yacht or something? You're not pulling the boat. You're pulling the semantics. You're pulling it a little bit, just like the Earth a little bit pulls on the sun. But I'll guarantee you in a tug of war, we're losing that. But it's still a movie made really well. Mm-hmm. I had a Chinese film starring Li Bingbing, one of my favorite Chinese actors, because she's really good. She's also really pretty. But Snow Girl and the Dark Crystal, no relation to the Jim Henson thing, but it's an incredibly beautiful film. It's just jaw-dropping at times. It's gorgeous, as most Chinese fantasy epics are, because they have a very beautiful country to shoot as a background. And I'm not going to say the actors are horrible. The primaries are really the only ones that have real skill. The secondaries, the background characters are just kind of faceless NPCs at this point. They serve no purpose to the film, and that's where it all falls apart. It's boring. It's well made. It's got all its fantasy, spinning kung fu wire bullshit, but I'm like, it's 2.5 hours long, and I almost fell asleep. You gotta put something in there so that I have the fun. The fun is the point. Mm-hmm. So when they make a movie like the Captain Marvel, and we want to make a statement about you're making a movie about a chick that can shoot lasers out of her hands, probably other parts of her body. She flies through space. She's got like a Top Gun complex. Why are you trying to take the fun out of it? There's one fun scene in that whole movie where Sam Jackson's character is like, how do I know you're not the bad guys? How do I know you're part of the good guys? And she blows up the jukebox. You know what? You're kind of a dick, Captain Marvel, but that was funny. That was funny. And if you could have done something like that on improv, I would have given Brie Larson all the credit on that. But obviously, she can't really shoot lasers out of her fist.
Yeah, and that's the point. Is people who criticize us for criticizing the politics and everything that come into it, is it or call us a misogynist because we didn't like Captain Marvel, right? Yeah.
Right, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel could have been such a fun, funny, enjoyable movie, but they had to make a statement with it.
The guy coming up and asking her to smile, so was she broke his hand or something? Yeah, that's an appropriate response. It doesn't look like a sociopath at all, or psychopath, whatever the difference is. It's not that you have that political viewpoint. Elizabeth Banks did the Charlie's Angels movie. I really like the one with Cameron Diaz and Lucy. The first one. The second one's a little much. It's kind of like Birdemic 1 and 2. Birdemic 1 is fun because they thought they were making a masterpiece. Birdemic 2, they embraced the stupidity. Yeah. Charlie's Angels 1, it's just fun. The second one, you tried a little too hard. But then they did the remake with Elizabeth Banks, and she's like, it's totally a feminist movie. If you don't like it, you hate women. And no, we don't like boring movies with bland actors. And that becomes an issue. When you can take good actors, again, for the shorthand, good, well-trained and knowledgeable thespians like Sam Jackson, when you can take something like the Star Wars prequels, and you can take Academy Award-winning actors and make them boring, how the do you have to do that on purpose? Mm-hmm. I've seen Hayden Christensen in other things. He's not a genius.
I just had this conversation with somebody else too about him.
He's not horrible either. Watch him in.
But you won't get that sand monologue in
No.
any of his other performances.
No, watch him in The Outcast with Nick Cage and Andy On. Also, the girl that played Mulan with the Disney version recently. I always up her name, Crystal Liu, but that's not her given name. It's her stage name. They're in that movie, and he's amazing in that. He's the main character. He outshines Nick Cage. I don't know how you do that. The guy's balls out crazy, but he did it. And you gotta appreciate that. You gotta watch the movie and understand what it takes to make one. If you can't understand what it takes to make one, then don't make a comment about the cinematography, because I guarantee you don't know what that word means. You don't. Oh, the cinematography. Really, what is the cinematography? Go ahead. Spell it out for me. No, don't Google it. Tell me what it means. You don't know, do you? No, you don't.
Yeah.
But they will. And if their viewpoint fits the general consensus, like the general consensus is that the Marvel movies are going to be good. They're going to be enjoyable. I disagree. And I know there are other people that do, but as with a few other aspects of life, if you were to voice your opinion that people disagree with in a general consensus, then, well, you're going to be shouted into oblivion. And that's not fair to people who maybe do enjoy a movie that everybody doesn't like, or don't enjoy a movie that everybody else does. I'm not welcome to my opinion because it's not yours, is not right. That is not subjective, that's objective. I should be allowed my opinion. Whether it's film, television, music, dance, literature, sculptures, paintings, beverages that taste like hate crimes, or the persona of a politician. That's pretty much it. If I feel a certain way about something, and not because of bigoted viewpoints, which just covers misogyny and sexism and racism and xenophobia, if I feel this way about the subject, because that's just how I feel. If I feel the Charlie's Angels movie was boring, if I feel The Last Jedi was poorly directed, if I feel like Rogue Warrior Robot Fighter was not thought out at all, if I feel like Serial Rabbit 3 was funny, if I feel like Ernest and Amanda really killed it in Second to Last Worst Day of My Life, if I feel like Xiomara was the star, not just the primary, but the star of Red Days, she made every scene she was in. It's not because she's a pretty girl. It's because she did the work. You know, Johanna played off of an office chair and managed to make it seem like she was actually having a conversation with something that was talking back to her. You can't find that in mainstream. And you can't find people that will appreciate that will criticize things fairly. They'll simply say, junk movie, worst thing ever. Really? Why? Because it's the worst thing ever. Doesn't tell me a goddamn thing.